I love to share with you guys timeless secrets, things that I feel like our grandparents and the generations who've gone before us, ways that they were living, things that they were doing that maybe we've gotten away from, we've moved away from in all of our efforts to get to technological advancement and faster, better, hurry, more. And maybe we're just paying a higher price for some of those innovations and technological advancements than we realize. And just like anything else in life, there's a pendulum swing. We need to come back to the middle and find a middle ground between utilizing the technology, the advancements, shout out to the dishwasher and the washing machine, that we can both take advantage of those things, but also not forget how some of the ways from the past are actually a great way to approach things, a great way to live, a great way to do things. Today, I'm going to share with you 11 things that our grandparents and previous generations didn't buy, things they didn't spend money on that we do, that maybe we should reconsider. Number one, I'm going right for the heart of me, Baxter. This one hurts a little bit. Doordash, Instacart, Uber Eats. I know. I use these things, okay? Just like I always tell you guys in all of these videos, I am not preaching at you. These are things that I am learning, living out, testing, trying. So I'm not saying, hey, I'm perfect, you should do it my way. I'm saying like, hey, these are some of the things that I've been rethinking and maybe you should rethink them too. That's all. DoorDash, do I love the convenience of it? Yes. Do I use it? Yes. Do I think I need to be using it way less? Absolutely. Those fees and things add up. It's just something to consider that maybe we don't need to use it as much. Our grandparents and previous generations, you know, it was kind of like pizza delivery became like a big deal that you could get pizza delivered. Now you can get just about anything and everything delivered. And I think it, again, dissociates us from the money that we're spending because it's all happening like through our phone and technology is coming out of our bank account. We're not seeing a physical exchange or loss of something out of our pockets, out of our wallets, and also not realize how much the fees from all of that stuff adds up. Number two, constantly paying other people to do everything for you. Again, the pace of life has changed. A lot has changed in terms of, you know, not having as many women at home being homemakers. So we're hiring people to come in and do those roles. There's positive things here, right? We're seeing fathers being more involved in their children's lives. So they're willing to pay someone to mow the lawn on the weekend so that they don't have to spend hours doing that and instead can be with their kids. I'm not saying any of that is bad. What I am saying is that like we pay people to do all kinds of things that we could do ourselves. So if the idea here is that we want to copy some of the ways that our grandparents and previous generations lived in order to be more frugal, in order to save money, in order to be able to kind of have a slower pace of life, that does mean that we might have to reassess whether or not having a housekeeping service is absolutely necessary, or did we do it for a time and we've just never stopped doing it? Do we still need it? Maybe you do. Only you can answer that question for yourself, right? Like only you can prevent forest fires. You're the only person who can know if you actually need somebody to mow your lawn or come clean your house. Maybe you do. If we're looking at things to like put back on the chopping block and assess, these are some of the things that are definitely a sign of the times and not something previous generations did or utilized as much or spent money on. I do wonder if Grandma chugged coffee as much as I do. I feel like she drank coffee. My grandmas both drank coffee. I just don't know that they drink as much as I do. Number three is buying plastic. Oh boy, have I had a come to Jesus about how much plastic products and things that I buy. It's really not something that previous generations purchased a lot of. Now, I do have so many fond memories of my grandfather washing Solo cups, okay? He would buy plastic cups, the red plastic Solo cups from time to time, but the man washed them and reused them a whole lot. We have a lot of consumable items in all areas of our lives. We have a lot of things that we use once and throw away. And there's absolutely, again, a reason, a season, a time. As a family of 10, we absolutely utilize paper plates. We try to always purchase the recyclable. Welcome to the storm. There's a very loud storm happening outside right now, so hopefully that does not affect your viewing and listening pleasure. That's one of those areas that we have a really hard time kind of like letting go of, is our paper plates, because, well, dishes times 10 people for every meal when we are home all day together. We homeschool, we're home together, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's a lot of dishes, okay? From time to time, we still absolutely utilize, but plastic and those kind of items were not things that our grandparents and that generation really purchased and used a lot of. And it's something that I am trying to move away from purchasing so much of and using so much of, even down to replacing items in my kitchen, mixing bowls and stuff. My mother-in-law is here right now, and for years it's driven her crazy how many like plastic mixing bowls and stuff I have. There's actually some good truth behind why less plastic is just obviously better overall for so many reasons that we don't need to get into in this video. Number 4 is a lot of pre-packaged, pre-made foods. TV dinners, I feel like we can all kind of envision those like black and white retro commercials, like the TV dinners with dad sitting in front of the TV with the tray eating that little TV dinner. Growing up, even for me, those were like a treat. I don't know, shout out to the old kid cuisines, okay? Does anybody remember those blue kid cuisines, like chicken nugget? It was all gross except for the chicken nugget and the brownie. Please raise your hand, leave me a comment if anybody is a kid from the kid cuisine generation. Now, if you go to the store, I was at Walmart the other day, down the frozen aisle, and there is an entire row, entire aisle side of like pre-made, pre-done dinners and foods. It's wild. And again, not that you can't utilize those things or shouldn't ever, but these are the things that we're like pulling back to the surface and saying, hey, do I need to use as much of these? These are things that our grandparents and other generations just did. They made a lasagna. They didn't buy the Costco lasagna, which is really good, by the way, and great if you need a quick meal. But constantly eating those things, obviously there's health implications from all of the sodium and stuff in those prepackaged foods. But the preservatives, you know, like there's a reason that that item isn't meant to last for 4 years otherwise, you know? That brings me to number 5, which is similar to the pre-made foods, but, and we're going back a little farther maybe than grandparents here with this one, but bread. Making your own bread is not hard. Now listen, everybody's on a sourdough craze, and I love sourdough. I have more than one sourdough starter because I give them different names, and they're like pets to me. So I have sourdough. I love sourdough. It can feel intimidating. It's not as hard as you think it's going to be, but what I will say is that if that's too much, because of the timing of things, that to me is the hardest part of sourdough, is how much you have to like plan ahead and time things out. You can absolutely just make your own regular bread, not sourdough bread. I have a very quick and easy bread recipe on my channel that is for like a Dutch oven bread that's quick and easy to make. Making our own bread, especially like sandwich bread. We go through sandwich bread so quickly. Things that have creeped up in price that is shocking to me, bread is one of them. When I go to buy bread, and I buy all my bread at like Sam's Club, Costco, things like that, because I got to buy bulk, right? And it's amazing to me how much money I could save if I had the time and would make our own bread. Number 6 is meat in every meal, especially if you are home all day, you're making breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're home with your kids all day. Having to have protein from meat, there's lots of ways to get protein, but this is something my husband and I have like a push-pull about because he's a meat guy. So having meat in every meal is expensive. Meat is expensive. Even if you raised your own animals for meat and butchered them yourself, it's still expensive. And it's one of the first things that I look at when we are going to try to cut our grocery budget and make some changes, is making sure that we have enough meatless meals in our week. We shoot for 2 meatless meals in our week, especially when we're trying to save money on groceries, because again, the meat, it adds up quickly. That brings me to number 7, which is another one that I feel like adds up very, very quickly, and one that, thank goodness, I discovered years ago was something that we needed to ick. When I would go to visit my grandmother's, like, there was milk, water, and coffee, but I was a kid, so I didn't drink coffee. That was it. All of these like sodas and juices, and the fact that we have like multiple aisles for all of these drink options, and some people have, and this is no shame if you do, I'm just saying, like, some people are drink people. They have like an entire refrigerator just for drinks. If I did that, I would be spending like all of my money on drinks because my kids would just pound them all the time. If you're looking for an area to cut and save in your budget, again, look into the past, man. We drank water, milk, coffee, tea, maybe occasionally tea, like tea bag tea. It's a tough one if you are quote unquote addicted to these drinks or your kids are, but it's one that I think is absolutely worth taking a look at in the budget. If we start going down that train of buying those things, it adds up so fast. I feel like it's flooding. I feel like it's gonna flood outside. I feel like my office is about to like float up and float away. Number 8, I love this one. My husband and I do this, and we always thought that it made us like cheap or weird. I don't love having to purchase like new gift wrapping for things. There's something that has always annoyed me about going to the store to buy a gift for a kid's friend's birthday party or whatever. I spend the budget on the present, and then I go to the gift wrap, and I'm like, I gotta spend another $10 just to wrap this thing? It's always driven me nuts. Well, previous generations, grandparents and such, would always save gift bags and reuse them, and even wrapping paper. I'm not going to tell my kids that they can't like tear into a Christmas present because I need to reuse that wrapping paper. You bet your hiney that I save and reuse boxes, like gift boxes, the t-shirt and robe boxes, the clothing boxes, gift bags. Gift bags are very expensive. They hold a gift, you open it, you take the gift out, and then what? Now I just recycle the bag, we're done? The bag has lived its whole life, it's done its whole job. It has much more work to do. Get in the closet, I'm gonna pull you out in 6 more months and you're gonna get back to work again. I mean, it sounds like a pretty cush job to me. You work like twice a year, so I don't feel so sorry for the gift bag. But saving and reusing gift wrap, gift bags, bows, things like that is definitely a habit of a previous generation that we should normalize again. All right, I know I'm gonna tick some people off with this one, but canceling, getting rid of cable, streaming services, and the like. This was something that, again, with all of our advancements in technology, we have so many options now when it comes to what we can subscribe to, TV, streaming services, Hulu, Netflix. I can't even name them all, honestly. Like now it's like Showtime, HBO, all of these things. And they always get you by saying like, oh, just do this free trial so you can watch this show. And you're like, all right, fine. And then you forget to cancel it. Well, either you got to set an alarm to remember to cancel that thing after you've watched the show, or we got to cancel some of those things. This is something I frequently do, is take a look at my budget and see what's auto. It's aggressive. Feels unnecessary and aggressive. It was sunny just a little bit ago. And see what is auto drafting out of my account, because these things, they sneak up on you. You sign up to get something free or whatever, or they like just trial this thing out, and next thing you know, you're getting charged $30 a month for like 4 months before you realize what's happening. It's great, all the options, but it's incredibly overwhelming. And I think on the whole, it's also making us, I mean, not to be harsh, but it's just making us lazier and stuff, because it's like, there's endless amounts of television and shows and things. And I love a documentary. I love a good documentary. There's endless amounts of that content out there that we can consume. And it's keeping us on our butts consuming and not up, moving, doing, learning. Number 10, our grandmas, they didn't buy crap they didn't need. Most of them. Some of them did. There's like a river running outside of my office. This is insane. I picked the worst time to film. You just got to push through, because this is the only time I have to do it. So I'm really concerned that flood water is going to make its way through that door in a minute. Okay. Most grandparents just didn't buy crap that they didn't need. If you think about, and again, I'm so guilty here, so I'm not preaching at you. These are just like thoughts I've had and things I've noticed. As you start to like really look into these things, it's kind of shocking. I could honestly make, maybe I will at some point, a whole video about some of the things I've learned in the last 6 months about stuff we buy. But the point is that there were not mini storage units, air conditioned storage on every street corner. We live in a relatively small town, and there are like 12 storage units within 4 miles of my house, because we just have so much stuff that people are like, well, I can't fit this in my house anymore, so I'm going to take all this stuff and put it in a storage unit. I have a storage unit, okay? So I'm not judging. This was something that our grandparents just didn't have. They didn't struggle with. We all had a grandfather that had a garage full of crap and garbage and jars and like a jar full of screws and nails. Like that was the extent of their keeping of crap. They would keep things that could be reused, but they didn't keep as much crap as we do. And it's kind of shocking when you really wrap your mind and your head around how much stuff we all have and continue to buy and add to our stuff without at least getting rid of the previous stuff. I'm not somebody who's going to tell you like you can't buy things, you can't have what. That would be so hypocritical of me. I am and have gotten far more discerning about what I will purchase, and when I bring something in, getting rid of things, especially in the last few months, I've gotten like cutthroat about getting rid of things. And even if I am bringing in a few new things here and there, I'm getting rid of far more than I am bringing in. Just our grandparents didn't do this as much as we did. They might have had a closet, a shelf in a closet that was like full of weird crap, but they did not have the copious amounts of garages, attics, storage units, extra places outside of their own homes full of stuff like we often do today. And it's one of those things that I think we could learn from. Number 11, and this is one that, I saved for last because it hurts the most for me because I am so guilty of this, but it's something that I've been working on and I've had some revelations as I've worked on it, which I'm going to share with you. So if this one hurts to hear, just know that if I was with you, I would be holding your hand and rubbing your back because it hurts. We could cry together, okay? And that is retail therapy. I am definitely somebody who's always been like, well, things are crappy. Let's go get some retail therapy. And I do love like going on little trips and stuff with my mom or my sisters or my friends. Like it's a lot of how women bond. Not every woman. There's lots of women who absolutely hate shopping and loathe it. And it totally depends for me what I'm shopping for, if I have to find something, or, that always makes it stressful and not fun. If like you have to find a dress for this event and it's like, I look like a marshmallow and everything. I hate it. It can be a fun like bonding. We're going to get a coffee. We're going to walk around. You might buy a little thing here or there. What I have found is that those kinds of retail therapy, I don't mind because I've gotten better at not just purchasing something when I see it and like it. But if you're still in the mindset of really struggling with that, of being more discerning about what you're purchasing, what you're bringing in, then retail therapy is just, it's bad all around. And the truth is, if we're all just being like brutally honest with ourselves, the idea of like retail therapy is maybe you need real therapy, right? Like if we're constantly doing this to squash like stuff we're struggling with, emotions, things like that, then we should probably just deal with those instead of constantly buying crap. So it's definitely something that we have to be really honest with ourselves about. Why are we doing it? This is about being more frugal. If this is about being able to save more money, to use our resources better, then I can certainly look back and think of the things that I have purchased that I'm like, oh my God, that was an impulse purchase. It was a retail therapy purchase. It was such a waste of money. It was, what was I thinking, right? And it's okay. We don't have to beat ourselves up about our past choices and decisions that weren't great. We just need to acknowledge them, recognize why we're doing that, and make changes in the future. I especially feel that because I do feel that sometimes some of the narrative around frugality and homemaking and simplifying and stuff can be kind of aggressive, and it's like making you feel like a bad person for some of those decisions. I am in no way trying to make you feel like you're a bad person if you continuously use retail therapy or something. I'm just, as a frequent retail therapy user in the past, I will tell you that there is some good healing and self-awareness to be found in really looking into why you're doing that and realizing that perhaps there's just some other things you need to change. And then you won't feel like you need to do that as often, as much. Or if you do want to just go with friends and go shopping and get a coffee and hang out, you can do that in a healthy way. If you decide to purchase something, you know that you're not making that decision because you're trying to cover up other stuff that you're stuffing and hiding. It's something that you truly need or really want to bring into your home, and you're not just bringing crap in to make you feel better for that moment, because it won't last. Those are just some of the lessons and the wisdom that we can take in from previous generations, from our grandmothers, some of the things that they did that we can do today to be more frugal, to be able to save more, and moving us in a direction of living lives that we love, that we don't need an escape from.
It's gonna be alright.